Hi guys, Marcy Bauman coming at you from Common Ground Ministry. I'm on my back deck and I don't have my Bible with me, and so I'm going to have to do this straight from memory. And that's easy this week because we are on one of my favorite books that's unfortunately often skipped over. It's a book that's not read nearly enough, and that is the book of 1 Peter. Now, Peter unfortunately gets his claim to fame for his biggest failure. On the day that Jesus was betrayed, that night he had a Last Supper, and Jesus warned his disciples, hey, listen, one of you guys is going to deny me. You're going to pretend like you didn't know me. And Peter pipes up right away and is like, not me. I'm totally with you. Do you see my dogs loving life? So Peter says, it's not going to be me. I'm definitely with you, Jesus. And as we all know, unfortunately, some time passes. Jesus is taken captive, and Peter finds himself in the courtyard, and that is where 3 different occasions people ask him, aren't you the one that we saw with Jesus? And every time he says he's not. And in the end, the rooster crows and Peter realizes, oh my goodness, I am the one that denied Christ. Now, first off, let's just pause right there. Every single one of us have had occasion where we did not stand up for our faith the way we were supposed to. Look at those girls being crazy. Every one of us have had times when we had the opportunity to represent Jesus, proudly proclaim our faith or stand up for what is right, and we haven't. Peter was just being human. But thank goodness Peter went on to have an amazing ministry. We know that he too was crucified for his faith. But in the process of his life after Jesus' death and resurrection, he encouraged the believers throughout the world. In fact, this letter of 1 Peter was one that he wrote to the Christians that were being persecuted. He wrote it, it was copied, and it was sent all throughout Asia Minor. And Peter wrote it specifically to those that were losing their jobs, that were losing their friends, their family, because of their faith in Jesus Christ. For that reason, the book of 1 Peter is the most loved book by the people in persecuted countries. In fact, in the church in Halle, Germany, when it was ruled by communist Germany, they said 1 Peter was the book that kept them sane. And throughout different Muslim countries, the book of 1 Peter is the one that is quoted the most. It talks about when we are outcasts, when people accuse us of doing wrong, to stand firm, because at some point they too will have the opportunity to encounter Christ. And we hope that our testimony by living lives of love would win them over. Isn't that beautiful? The book of 1 Peter starts out with Peter just kind of talking about what it looks like to have a mature faith, that we're supposed to be hungry for nourishment from Scripture. That's how it is. And that's part of the reason why I encourage you so strongly to dive in and get to know Scripture yourself. Don't just take it from me. Don't take it from your pastor. Go in and start reading Scripture so that you know the truth for yourself. It's so important. It also talks about how when we go through hard times, that is a time when God uses to strengthen us. My friends, if you have been through a season that has been so difficult, you know as well as I do that sometimes those, while you wouldn't wish it upon your worst enemy, those are the times that you end up growing the most. God has a way of using dark times to make us stronger. And on that point, let me just say, Jesus, he calls himself the light. He is the Word. He is the light. And with that doesn't mean that we have to find our way out of darkness. If you're struggling with depression, if you're struggling with addiction, if you're struggling with just something tragic that's happened in your life, something, maybe it's just life right now. Maybe the news in itself makes it feel like you're in a dark place. You don't have to come out of your dark place in order to hear Jesus. Listen to that. Jesus comes into the darkness with his light. He's the one that brings the light there. He comes in, sits with you, and teaches you there. That's where we grow stronger. Our empathy grows stronger. Our understanding for how complicated life is grows in the darkness. And my friends, just know that you don't have to be okay in order to hear God's voice. He'll come and talk to you in the darkness too. And in fact, that's just a huge theme of 1 Peter, that when we are persecuted, that is when we grow stronger. And so my friends, I encourage you, I challenge you to go read this book that unfortunately is not read very often in the Western world, and own it for yourself. Find joy and peace in those pages. And until next week, be blessed, and we will talk to you again soon. We love you guys.